Okay, hello, welcome to Viscount Leisure. It's going to go around and do a quick tutorial on our Swift Conqueror 565 that we've got here. Just so that we're aware of the basics of how everything operates inside, so you know what you're doing when you go camping. First things first, when you get to site, you're going to make sure your caravan is nice and level, using a spirit level inside the van. We go up and down using the jockey wheel on the front here to wind and lower the front of the caravan in order to get ourselves on a level playing field. Once those are down, we're then going to drop our 4 corner steadies. We have one on each corner that we can see here, and your winding handle is in the front locker there for you to do that with. Okay, so make sure they're all down. As I say, we don't want to level on those, we want to make sure we're leveling on the jockey wheel, and then we're going to put the corner steadies down afterwards. That'll just stop you bouncing around inside the caravan when you are level. So once you've done that, you want to then start getting some water and things like that into the van. So you're going to go to your water point and you're going to get your water container, your aqua roll that you'll have. You're going to fill it up with water and you're going to bring it back to this point here. We open that up, we drop the bottom of the pickup into the barrel, and then we push this into the side of the van. Okay, this pickup will pick up the water from the bottom of the barrel and suck it through into the van once we turn on our water pump inside. It's normally best to put the bottom in first, then plug this in, only because it's like a semi-rigid pipe and these can be slightly delicate, so we don't want to crack this. So into the barrel first and then into the side of the van. This is our boiler flue for our Audi boiler. We've got Audi heating on board, so when you're running the boiler on gas, this is your exhaust for that, a bit like you have at home. So nothing you should do with it, just bear in mind that's what it is, don't cover it up, and warm air will come out of that when you're running it out on gas. This is where our power supplies are. So we've got a 12-volt battery here, leisure battery, to power our van inside of our lights, water panels, water pump and fridge panels. We also have the option, of course, of plugging into mains just here. So we can have 240-volt power coming into the van, done via a mains lead that you will also need for the van as well. Okay, and when you're plugged in, this of course will be charging the battery as cool as well, because there's an onboard battery charger for that. We have fresh water coming in over there. This is where our wastewater is going to come out. We have two exit points here, which are flaps, and I've cut you out a length of hose here, so that will fits into there, into your waste master that you'll need to lay on the ground here to collect all of your grey water. So that's anything that comes down a plug, that will all gather in that waste master. Again, when that's full, you take it to your water point on site, and away you go and empty that and bring it back nice and empty. This is the outside bits for our onboard toilet. This is our flush tank. It's a separate water tank purely just for the flush on our toilet. The reason we have that is because we put chemicals into that. So you're either going to put green or you're going to put pink into here. That will help things A, smell nice, and B, keep everything lubricated and doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's worth having some kind of little watering can or something along those sort of lines in order to be able to top that up efficiently without spilling it all down the side of your van. So that's just something to consider. When you flush the toilet, it's got to go somewhere, and that comes down into our Thetford toilet cassette just down here. Okay, so we're going to pull that open. There's an indicator inside on the toilet, we'll have a look at that in a second, as to let you know when it's full. There's an extendable handle there as well, so we can wheel it along. Once that's full, what we're going to do is we're going to open that up there, take the cap off the end, press this button here. What that does is release all the air pressure inside the unit. Then we're able to empty it at the specific chemical disposal point that will be on the caravan site that you are staying on. You then need to reprime this with some chemicals. Again, in here will go green or blue depending on what you want to use, and the instructions for how much to put in there will be on the bottle, so have a look at that. This also doubles up as a little measuring cap just to try and make life a little bit easier as well. Once you've washed this out, cleaned it, and then reprimed it with some chemical, it quite simply just slides back into the pipe there, and we are ready to go again. When we're not using the van or we finish, obviously always empty your toilet. Always drain your flush tank down as well. There is a little hose that drops down from the top here for emptying that out there. We've got lots of seals around these locker doors. It's always worth having some silicone spray available every now and again. Go around all of your seals and just keep them nice and soft and supple, all your window seals, and just give them a bit of a coating with some silicone every now and again. That will just keep them soft and supple and doing what they're supposed to be doing. Of course, don't forget you will need a number plate depicting the car you are, of course, towing with as well. Coming around the other side, we have a locker going in underneath one of our single beds. And here we also have our fridge vents, okay, because we've got a large fridge on board. Pulls the cold air in from the bottom, hot air out from the top. All right, so nothing you need to do with them, just so you're aware that that's what they do. It uses heat in order to cool, so it's gonna circulate that air through the fridge that way. All right. We also have an external power point here, which you can use when you're plugged into mains, and you also have a external gas barbecue point here as well that you can use as well from your gas bottles there in your gas locker. Talking of gas lockers, here it is. This is where you're going to keep your gas, all right, hence the LPG sticker. And of course we've got the straps and everything for them in here. Whenever you're traveling, make sure they are strapped in and also turned off. That's very important. But when you do come to put them in, this is a hand tight wheel, no need for a spanner. Goes into the side of the bottle, does up on an opposite thread, so not lefty loosey righty tighty, we go in the other way round. Make sure that's nipped up nice and tightly. That rubber seal will create the seal, and then we're ready to start using the gas through the bulkhead regulator up here. That will change it into the working gas pressure for the van and send it through to your appliances. Again, making sure this is nice and tight. Bottles are closed when we're traveling, but when you get to site, of course, open that up. And of course we need to strap them in, and there's room for 2 bottles there as well, for 6 kilo bottles. Just with the hitch very quickly, we'll do a full hitch up with you of course when you arrive, but just a couple of things. If you are we are running 13 pin electrics, so just make sure you're compatible with that, or you have the right adapter for it. We do have some if required. And also if it's a brand new tow ball, what we need to do is make sure we're getting rid of all the paint on it, so it's got bare metal. Again, we can help you with that. Ready, so because the hitch head stabilizer grabs onto the ball, so it needs a nice a rough surface to grab onto, hence why we don't want the smooth paint. If it's an existing tow ball, again, we make sure there's no grease on it, so we want to clean that thoroughly. Again, we don't want to get any grease in the pads in there, otherwise it's just not going to do what it's supposed to do. All right. Right, once we are all level, got our water going, we want to start getting some water into the van, of course. So what we're going to do is come in here and start turning a few things on. First thing we're going to do is come and make sure all of our taps are shut, because when we leave the van, we always want to leave our taps open. Okay, we'll talk about that when we're shutting the van down. But just make sure they're all shut. And we also need to come and close our boiler drain valve, which is situated just down here. Our boiler is underneath this cushion here, but just down here we have a yellow switch in the upwards position at the moment. Flick that down, that closes the valve. That's when we turn on the water pump, the water will bypass that and come straight through into the boiler rather than dropping down to ground. All right, so make sure that's down before we start turning anything on. We have our Swift command unit here, our Swift Sergeant unit. We have a system shutdown button here. Okay, this will isolate your 12 volt system, so if that is off, you need to come in here and turn that on before anything will work. And we also have, with this one here, when we're on mains, you need to make sure that these 2 buttons are depleted or are pressed, otherwise your battery charger won't be working, or nor will your heating and hot water on the mains power. All right, again, 12 volt fuses here. Main trip switches are also here as well. It tells us what they all do just here for all of our fuses there, and also our trip switches there. Also, we have our main RCD coming in. That's from the 240 volt side of stuff. If you're struggling to get things to work in the van, like your on your domestic plug sockets, we can test it from here. So press the test button. If this stays up and nothing happens like now, because I'm not plugged in, look, that stays up. If I press this and there's tripped, that tells me I'm getting power to the van. 9 times out of 10 though, the problem will be where you are plugged into rather than here, hence why we have the test button there, so we can check whether power is coming to the unit or not, because your post on site will also have a trip switch as well, so go and check those if you're struggling to get 240 volt power into your van. Okay, once we've done that, we want to start filling that boiler up with water because it's just full of air. So what we're going to do is come and start turning on our panels. This is our main Swift command panel. You can see it's power off, so we're going to press the power button there. That's going to turn it on. Okay, so our main settings here are water pump. So we want to turn that on. We'll just go through it very quickly. Awning light is our outside light. This is our actual lights for inside. So we have 2 lighting systems, and we just press off and that will then turn them on. And we can dim them as well. All right, so if I dim these, you can see that these ones will start to go down. Okay, and also if I dim them, they will go up. Of course, we have individual light switches all the way around the van as well, so we can select what lights we want on and when we want them on. Okay. The next one along is power. It's just telling us what everything's doing. So telling us the state of our leisure battery here. It's also telling us the state of our solar as well. So the solar is charging the battery, which is good. So we can see we've got 13 volts going into the battery, which is what we want to see. We can also do all of our heating from here as well. To be fair, we'll go through it on the Audi panel because it makes a bit more sense. We can also go in here and set different timings, settings and things like that if you want to. But the main bits of it are water pump, awning light, lighting, power, and also our heating as well. Up here it tells us the temperature inside the van, exterior, and all that sort of stuff as well, and also the state of our leisure battery. So first off, what I'm going to do is we're going to purge that system, get that system full of water. So you're going to come and you will turn on your water pump. All right. Then what you would do is come and turn on your hot tap over here. What you'll get is a lot of gurgling and spluttering. The reason for that is, of course, we're pushing all that air out of the boiler. Leave it up until we get a steady flow of water coming out of the tap. It may take a bit of time. I say we've got to get 12 litres of water into that boiler and then through to the tap. So once it starts as a steady flow, you can turn the tap off, turn it over to cold, do the same thing. That will be much quicker because we're not filling a boiler up. But once we've got a steady flow of water coming on both sides of the tap, you can turn it off. Then you're going to go and do that in your bathroom and in your shower as well to get all the air out of the system. That way we know there's no air left, and actually the system will work much better. Do it in the shower even if you're not going to be using it, because the system will work better without any air in it at all. All right. Once you've done that, you will want to then start heating that water up that's in that boiler. So what we do is we come over to our Audi panel here, and we're going to turn that on by pressing the on button just there. Let that boot up. Okay, so wake the panel up by pressing the menu button, and it's really simple. Okay, so the top one here with the thermometer in it is our temperature. This is all just touchscreen, so all you do is set it to the temperature you want it to be. This was up at 30, obviously, where they've been testing it because it's been so warm. We had to have it high in order to get it to kick in. So just set it for whatever you want it to be, and you just leave it and it will do the job for you. The next one down is our hot water. Okay, so we can have that off, so that's with nothing in the triangle. Next one is on. That will heat the water to 60 degrees, which is pretty much how you will normally leave it. And the next one up, okay, is a boost setting. So I suppose what that does is an override. Now let me just turn the radio off because it's annoying me. Yeah, so that's a boost setting. So what that will do is, in essence, put all its effort into heating the hot water rather than the heating system. So if it was really cold and you wanted to have a couple of back-to-back showers or something, you may well do that, and it would revert back to its normal setting after about 15 minutes or so. Okay. Next one down, or the next two down really, is the power that we're using. Now we can run the boiler on mains power when we're plugged in, so that's 240 volt, or we can run it on gas if we're off grid and we don't have access to mains power, or we can run it on a combination of the both should you wish to do so. But it's off at the moment, so if I'm using the electric, I want a little lightning bolt there, so I can use 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt, or 3 kilowatts, depending on what site I'm on, and what power I've got access to, and what else I'm trying to use in the van. So for instance, if I had it on 3 kilowatts, I had my fridge on, then I had a hairdryer going, I might keep tripping out my trip switches over here that we looked at earlier, because we're trying to draw too much current in the van. So you may come over here and say, right, I still want to use all that other stuff, so I'm going to come and drop this down to 2 or maybe 1 kilowatt. Again, it will obviously the higher the kilowattage, the more efficient it is, but you can still run it on a lower kilowattage. So it's just about spreading the power around the van and also what power you've got access to. If I am off grid though, I would turn that off and I would press the gas button here. That would then light the boiler on the gas. And as long as you obviously turned your gas bottle on and you've got enough gas in your bottle, of course. Or we can again run it with a combination of the two should you wish to do so. You know, if it was really cold and you wanted to heat things up really quickly, I suppose you could run it with the gas and electric, and then maybe turn the gas off once it's up to temperature. So that is how that works. So temperature in the van, hot water on, off, or on boost. Am I using electric or gas? And if I'm using electric, how much am I actually using? There's lots of settings you can set as well, timers, priorities, and all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to go into that now. There are instruction manuals in your book pack just on the front there, which will be on your drawer. But the main thing is, to be fair, whenever I go away, they're the settings I use. I don't tend to go into anything else. So that is how that all works. Right, quick look at the kitchen. Here's your microwave. You can see the microwave plate is not in there. That is in your book pack. The reason for that is do not travel with your microwave plate in the microwave. It will end up on the floor, or smashed on the floor, or a dented worktop or something like that. So don't travel with it in there. Okay. There is our solar charger there. Okay, so it is nothing you need to do or worry about, but that is regulating the power coming from our solar panel on the roof to our leisure battery. 3-burner gas hob, electric hot plate. Electric hot plate, of course, only works when we're plugged into mains. However, the gas, of course, will work as long as we've got our gas bottle on and have enough gas. The igniter for it is just down here, and I'm not going to teach you how to use an oven, but hold down, press, and it will ignite. This one here, of course, is the hot plate, and we have a separate oven and a separate grill there as well. Again, when we're traveling, make sure all the lids and everything are firmly down, but make sure this is cool before you put the lid down, otherwise that glass will get really, really hot. Next thing along is our fridge. So here is our fridge, tall fridge. Open the fridge up and you'll see we have our controls up the top here. So the fridge will work on mains power, it will work on gas, and it will also work off your car when you're traveling, as long as you've got the right electrics for it. Okay, so turn the fridge on by pressing that button there, and then we just select what we want to use. So if I was, this is going to beep at me because we're not plugged into anything. All right, so if I wanted to run it on mains, I would run it like so. If I wanted to run it on gas, I would press this one and it would light the fridge on gas, and if I'm using it behind the car, I'm going to press that one. All right, I can change my temperature from here. Okay, and then just hold it down. We also have a reset button just there as well, so if it's struggling to light on gas, you can reset it from there, and that resets the panel and will help it along its way. But really simple. The only thing to remember is that this runs on a different circuit to your main panel up here. So if you turn this off, everything else in the van will turn off apart from this. Okay, so you do have to come and turn this off separately. The reason for that is, of course, because you can use it when you're towing by using the battery function. So because you would leave everything else off. So just bear in mind, otherwise it just has a bit of an impact on your battery and things, really. Even though you've got the solar panel, just worth knowing. Of course, we've got our 2 single beds, and we have our individual lights up here as well. These are dimmable by using the turn on the back. Okay, so just as a bit of an FYI really on that one. Going into our bathroom. Okay, we looked at the toilet from the outside. This is the toilet, of course, from the inside. We use the toilet in the normal way. This is our flush button that we press, and that will flush the toilet and fill the bowl up with water after we've used it, or it will be coloured water, of course, depending on what chemical you've used. And then we then open the gate from here. That then opens the gate, everything drops down into the cassette, and then we push this all the way back across, making sure that's firmly over, because that's what's creating the seal between obviously what's in your cassette and what's in your caravan. So we want to keep that obviously separated. If you're struggling to remove your cassette from the outside, we must make sure, come in here and just check this is all the way over, because it won't remove if it's not all the way over. Okay, so don't try and force it, come in here, and chances are that's probably going to be the problem there. This here will illuminate when it's time to empty your toilet cassette, but again, at the same time, just keep an eye on it. Here it is, all the fluid for your Aldi system. All right, so it's always going to be between maximum and minimum, depending on if it's on or off. Okay, so that is what that is. Other than that, shower door has a retainer up here for when we're traveling. All right, so just make sure, again, that is retained, otherwise it bangs around all over the place. Again, also your toilet door, just make sure that is also closed as well when you are traveling. Again, same with all of your skylights. They open quite simply by using the button, but just make sure they're all locked and ready to go. Your windows, these are really simple to use. We undo the catches, 1, 2, 3 and 4 on this occasion. We open the window and we have these screws either side, one there and one the other side. Okay, and we just tighten those up, and that will hold the window at the openness, for want of a better word, that you require. You can also leave the window open and locked, but on a breather setting. So not this side of it, in the middle. That will just allow some airflow through the van. But again, when you're traveling, do make sure they are completely shut. And again, the same with all your other bits and pieces as well. Obviously, we'll have blinds, blackout blinds, and then pull down, and we have fly screens as well. We have an Omni vent here as well. Okay, so we can get some air coming in or out of the van, depending on what you want to do. So we've got an on button there. There we go. And we can change it and the speed of it depending on what we want to do by pressing the buttons. And to turn it off, we just press that. We do have to open the lid on it by using this. Otherwise, it's not going to be doing anything. But it's so difficult to see if it's open or not from here. So just make sure you remember to close it once you have finished your holiday. Or it's raining, of course. Right, that's the basics of it. Okay, that's how we set the van up. What we'll just quickly look at now is breaking the van down ready for the road. So first things first, I'm going to come and turn off my fridge. All right, turn that off there. I'm then going to turn off my Audi panel first, which is this one here. I'm then going to come and turn off this panel by holding this down. There we go. We then want to drain everything down. So the first thing you're going to do is come and open your boiler drain valve. So we're going to flick that into the upwards position, that yellow switch from earlier. Okay, you're then going to come to all of your taps and we're going to leave them open. We're going to leave them open in between hot and cold. The reason we do that is if we get any freezing weather, water expands when it freezes and we end up with cracked taps, cracked pipes, and water everywhere next time we try and plumb our van up. So if you get in the habit of leaving your van completely dry of water, and that's toilet, everything, boiler, leave all your taps open, you're going to mitigate that and stop that being an issue, because it's just not something that will happen. We get it all the time. People come in December and say, oh, I forgot to drain my van down, and it's too late by that point. Okay, so once that's all done, we're then going to come outside. All right, you're going to come and you're going to turn your gas off, make sure they're all strapped in. You're going to empty your waste master, your aqua roll, and remove all your bits and pieces and stow them away. Again, making sure everything is closed, locked, ready for the road. And then we're going to lift up our corner steadies, get hitched up, maybe use our motor mover for that. We'll have a go with the motor mover when you do pick the van up, just so that you're aware of how that operates as well. But that is the basis of your caravan. Hope that makes sense, and we do look forward to seeing you at collection. Many thanks.